Hey guys, welcome back to the Quad Method. My name is Steven, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. If you guys remember a while ago, we made a post asking for some of you to donate your music for a video, and this is that video. Basically, we're just going to do kind of a read through some, I guess, for me, random music that you guys have submitted. So I got a couple pieces. Depending on how long this video goes, we might get through both of them, maybe just one, not sure, so we'll find out. But anyways, this particular piece of music was sent in by Blazikins. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to kind of explain what goes through my head when I'm looking at new music for the first time, as if I'm going to be putting this on drums, you know, today. So when I look at new music for the first time, I like to start big and then go small. I start by skimming through all the sheets, just to kind of pinpoint, you know, trouble spots, difficult parts, identifying the tempos, the tempo changes, the meters and all the meter changes, stuff like that. All the macro details that are going to have the largest effect on what I'm playing and how I'm playing it. So let's go ahead and do that. So we've got, just right off the bat, we got tempos. We got a lot of meter changes, and luckily these meters are all in 4, so the chord notes have the same value. It's just kind of how you feel it that changes. And then at first glance, we kind of have, the first thing that pops out are like scrapes. So when you have 60 notes that are moving around a lot, or they're on different drums, every note's on different drums, like right there and right here, usually those require the most attention just because you're moving around more. Also, what I look out for are any type of modulations or any type of metric change. So like, for example, we got over here, we got the triplets going to 16th notes. Anything like that, those tend to be tricky, so you always want to look out for those. They're kind of hidden in there, so just make sure you look out for those. And then same thing right around here. Cool, so now that we've kind of gone through and identified all the trouble spots and all the big, the macro details, we can start breaking it down in phrases. I like to do phrases just so that when I start putting it together, I don't have to put it together bar by bar. I can think about them as like, whatever, 4-bar phrases or just whatever type of phrases are, and that helps me put the music together. Once I try to put the whole thing together, it's easier to put together slightly larger chunks rather than just like putting it together bar by bar. I'm just gonna kind of do this really quickly just to speed through this. Cool, and those green lines kind of signify where I kind of think that the phrases are. You got like 4-bar phrase up top, the first line, and then the next 3 measures. You got a phrase, and then the 4/4 is kind of like a transition back into the 5/4, and then there to the end is its own thing. And now once we've done that, then we can go back and detail kind of, or just pick out some stuff, look for some tendencies, stuff like that. So the first thing you want to note is that it's at 220. It's a really fast tempo, so it's just gonna, counts are just gonna come and go just like that. And we've got some spaces in here. Just a lot of times we kind of ignore spaces. We think about the notes and the note values, but we don't always give enough attention to spaces. Spaces are a part of the music, and you should be giving as much attention to them as you do with the note values. Especially since as percussionists we deal with attacks, we don't really deal with duration so much. So everything we do has to be, every attack we play has to be very accurate and very precise. And a lot of times the larger the spaces, or anything between like a chord note and like a half note, those spaces tend to be a little trickier, especially at the faster tempo. You just kind of, again, since it's 220, it just kind of comes and goes just like that, so it's easy to just kind of blow through it, ignore it. But anyways, we got like a half note space here. I say half note because the space between the first note attack and the attack on count 3 is over this. The space is 2 counts. It's a half note space. And then you got chord notes. Just make sure you're not dropping those in. And also, since the dynamics are really big here. Oh yeah, and again, make sure you're looking for dynamics. Totally forgot to do that. But yeah, as we can see in the first phrase, we have a lot of big dynamics. So make sure we're giving all those accents that dynamic value. But on the flip side, when we have big notes, it helps a lot if we bring down the taps. If the taps are true tap values, while we let the accents be the big dynamic values, we can get a lot of contrast, and that can make the accents more effective, and it can make the music it can give the music more shape. But that's kind of based on definition, so it depends on who's writing your book, and they might have different definitions depending on what they were going for. But just looking at this for the first time, just make sure that coming out of a big shot like this one, you're not overplaying those 2 taps that precede it. And then we got some tap attacks on these 2 notes. Make sure you're not overplaying that. Make sure they are the same volume and value as these guys. Cool. And then we go back into, we got another kind of half note space, some low tap quarter notes. Make sure you're not overplaying that. And then we got a long string of triplets with some different stickings. When you guys are going through stuff like this where it's just one kind of note value with different stickings, make sure you're listening for the rhythms. The rhythms are the most important thing. Just don't let the sticking kind of throw you off. I know we have a little bit of shaping with these accents right here, but the rhythm, the triplet rhythm does not change. So make sure through with all these, the doubles going to the singles and stuff like that, make sure those all sound like triplets. We got a slight crescendo. And then you got to look out for this guy. That's going to be the tricky part, going from triplets to 16th notes. When I see stuff like this where it's kind of changing from like triplets to duple stuff or duple to triple, I always look for the hand speed first. And the easiest one to identify is the duple one. You're going from triplet hand speed where it's like triplet, 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 to the 8th note hand speed of right, left, right, left. So triplet, triplet, right, left, right. Because those are doubles. So that's an easy way to break it down, an easy checkpoint to identify. Cool, and then we go back, we're going into the second phrase where we got another half note space. Make sure you're giving that its whole value. And then we have this long diminuendo into a shorter crescendo. Just make sure you're taking that into account. Just like the triplets, we have a long phrase of just 8th notes. Make sure you're not getting thrown off by the little embellishments of the flam, the grace notes, and the sticking. You go from alternating to right hand 3s. Again, they're all 8th notes, diminuendoing 8th notes, so make sure those are given its true value. And then even though you're playing 16th notes right here, the check is still just 8th notes, alternating 8th notes, right, left, right, left, right. Digga, 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 dome. It's just alternating, so make sure you're not giving away or you're not blowing through that hand speed check pattern. Cool, and then we got another triplet kick like we did earlier right here. And then we go into the 8th note diddle phrase. This is kind of an easier thing. Beware, make sure you're looking out for this guy, the forte piano. So keep those taps low, don't overplay them, especially when you start moving to the rounds right here. We've got scrapes right here, but luckily for us, we have kind of a check to the scrapes going with the previous counts. We have all these diddles on single drums not scraped, so that's going to allow us to establish our full compressor and our approach. You know, not that we should be searching, but you can, if anything, you can use that as a setup. And even better, we have a whole bar of just one drum diddles right here that go into a little bit of motion, and then that go into scrapes. So that's just a nice setup for you to take advantage of. So if you see stuff like that, please use that to your advantage. And then moving forward, we have another kind of half note space, some more 8th notes. Make sure you're playing true 8th notes, keep them low. Cool. And then we have another kind of modulation to 8th notes. With the hand speed before those 8th notes on the triplets are just quarter notes. Triplet, 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 So it shouldn't be difficult to kind of feel the 8th notes beforehand. Boom. Triplet, triplet, And then we got some short tap rolls going on. Just like on the scrapes before, we have the scrape pattern right here, but luckily we have some one drum stuff to kind of help set us up for those scrapes. So when we get to the scrapes, all we have to do is move our larger muscles to get those scrapes to happen, but we don't have to change anything up here because we set ourselves up with all these one drum diddles. And then we got some more. You got a tap 7 right here. Chord notes, watch out for those, the spacing. And then we got a diminuendo sort of tap roll. Make sure you're not giving away those last diddles. Finish the phrase, and then you end on a tap. I know this looks like a mess, and I don't actually go through all my music and notate like this. This is just to help help you visualize what I'm thinking or what goes through my head. But yeah, this is my second read of this piece. I looked at it a couple weeks ago, so I wanted it to be as much of a first time read as possible. So that's what I get out of it. I know for you guys, you guys probably don't see all those details. There's some stuff I didn't mention, some tendency things, but yeah, it's when you look at music for the first time, it helps to be able to see these things to avoid some of these issues before you even learn it. That way you can learn it the correct way. You don't have to go back and relearn it or clean stuff up that should be self-explanatory. You know, simple stuff like spaces, chord note spaces, half note spaces. Those things should be easy. Those things shouldn't really be a problem, but more often than not, we kind of forget that space directly affects our attacks. So just make sure you're giving those spaces their full value. Cool, hope that helps. I have no idea if this is really helpful or not, so if it is or if it isn't, please let me know so I know whether or not I should try one of these again. I thought it might be cool to try it, but if it didn't help any of you, then that's fine. I'm not going to be offended or anything. Anyways, till next time, I will see you then.